Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the Ranting Usher, and for this video I thought I would switch it up a bit. So rather than a movie, which is what I usually do, I wanted to broaden my horizons and review Sleeping Beauties, an audiobook, co-written by Stephen King and his son Owen, and read by Marin Ireland. Let me talk you to your seat. Both Stephen's and Owen's prose mirror each other so well that it's eerie. But then, what else do you expect from horror authors as prolific and as great as the Kings? The collaborative narrative in Sleeping Beauties is so thought-provoking and so fluid that it's impossible to determine when Stephen stops and Owen begins, and vice versa. As far as the premise is concerned, think of it as a battle of the sexes, while one of the sexes is missing in action. Set in a small Appalachian town, a strange paranormal phenomenon occurs when women fall asleep. They form cocoons, and while immersed within these cocoons, they drift off into another world. A fantasy world that knows little to no conflict, and where the women are allowed to live in harmony. If these women are awakened or disturbed in any way, they become vicious and violent, not too dissimilar from the monsters who arise from their graves in Pet Sematary. The fantasy element in Sleeping Beauties isn't necessarily anything new. We've seen it before in Eyes of the Dragon as well as in the Dark Tower series. The men are left with nothing but each other and their own primal urges to drive them, thus resulting in a hostile environment. Unlike in the stories I previously mentioned, where the fantasy and the horror aspects are fused together, they are kept mostly separate in Sleeping Beauties. And it is the way the real world is portrayed, as opposed to the cocoon-induced dystopia, that really makes Sleeping Beauties unique. The men depicted are not particularly bright. Their dim-wittedness, often written with sweet and bitter satire, their brutality, and their divisiveness make them very engaging characters. The men in Sleeping Beauties are often blamed for many of the world's problems. That won't turn heads with the feminists at all. Not that they have ever been the King's target audience. As I mentioned earlier, Marin Ireland is both the narrator and the voice actor of Sleeping Beauties. She does a fantastic job of transitioning between the male and female characters. At times, she seems to bring out the male satire a tad more than what may have been intended. You would think with all the male bashing going on that a male would be the main villain of the story. Alas, the major antagonist is a female. Her name is Evie Black, and she is somehow able to fall asleep and wake up without forming a cocoon. Yet she is the reason so many other women are forming cocoons. Although seeing as how those women aren't exactly being harmed when they fall asleep, that technically makes Evie Black a pseudo-antagonist. Men who are unsure of what to do about Evie Black are drawn into opposing factions. Only quasi-similar to the factions the characters were drawn to in The Stand. Some of the men in Sleeping Beauties want to kill Evie Black, while others see her as the key to reversing the effects of the cocoons. As you might expect, women are the most fascinating out of all the characters in Sleeping Beauties. While struggling to stay awake in a women's prison, they share background stories that provide some of the richest substance and character development in the entire book. Sleeping Beauties is about human conflict and the human condition. It's about the roles and significances of male and female genders, how they impact society, and how the absence of one could cause the world to spiral into an apocalyptic state. I recommend Sleeping Beauties to those who not only enjoy horror, but who appreciate an epic, thought-provoking tale that reflects our own primal urges when we're left to fend for ourselves in a hostile world and juxtaposes them with our need to sleep, our need to dream. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being atrocious and 5 a masterpiece, I give Sleeping Beauties a 4.7 rating. Thank you so much for watching. Your viewership and support are always appreciated. As always, click the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, share, or subscribe to make sure you stay up to date on my channel, and I'll see you next time.